Stay home, that's the message being sent by both levels of government. Our local MPP talks about new measures from the province against the spread of COVID-19. And a local group of families finds the lighter side of things during this pandemic. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Cogeco News. We are live at 5 for March 23rd. And to our top story, be prepared for a lot more closures, both provincially and locally.
The message is now crystal clear. If you don't need to be outside your home, you shouldn't be.
If you choose to ignore that advice, if you choose to get together with people or go to crowded places, you're not just putting yourself at risk, you're putting others at risk too. Your elderly relative who's in a senior's home, or your friend with a pre-existing condition, our nurses and doctors on the front lines, our workers stocking shelves at a grocery store. They need you to make the right choices. They need you to do your part. We've all seen the pictures online of people who seem to think they're invincible. Well, you're not. Enough is enough. Go home and stay home. This is what we all need to be doing.
And on the provincial level, the Conservatives are taking new measures to make sure there are no excuses to be out.
Well, good afternoon. Today, I'm ordering the mandatory closure of all non-essential workplaces in the province of Ontario. This order will be effective Tuesday, March 24th at 11:59 p.m. for 14 days. The next 36 hours will give non-essential businesses the chance to adapt and prepare. Tomorrow, we will release the list of businesses that are permitted to stay open.
And now joining me via video conference is our MPP, Norm Miller. Norm, thanks very much for taking the time.
My pleasure, James, and thank you to yourself and everyone at your TV for the great job you're doing in this COVID-19 crisis of communicating lots of good, reliable news to all the folks of every sound spoken around the province.
We appreciate that, Norm. And as you can see, as our viewers can see, we're practicing the proper social distancing here by doing a video conference instead. So Norm, we're just going to cut right into it. Just previously, our viewers have seen that Premier Ford is now calling for the closure of all non-essential businesses as of tomorrow night. So tell me about this decision that has been made by Premier Ford.
Sure. I mean, the Premier's been having daily news conferences with some of the key ministers, and the situation is changing very quickly, as we've seen, across the country and around the world. So I think he's been taking pretty decisive action that needs to be taken to try to get ahead of this COVID-19 crisis. The most recent being in the news conference he had today, announcing that non-essential businesses would be required to close. Now, what is a non-essential business is a big question, and that is going to be getting answered more tomorrow when the minister responsible does a more wholesome announcement of qualifying which businesses are non-essential. I know I just got off a call from the municipal leaders in Muskoka, and they brought up some businesses, about whether it is essential or non-essential. Is construction essential? So I'll be looking forward to the details of what exactly qualifies as non-essential. But the whole idea is to keep people at home, to keep people from spreading the virus, and that's so essential if we're going to win this battle, which I'm sure with everyone doing their part, and it's so much up to individuals to do their part, and that's why I'm video conferencing, not as much as I like to be in the studio and seeing you face to face, video conferencing so that we aren't coming in direct contact is one of the small steps all of us can take to win this battle against COVID-19.
Now, Norm, much to the ire of Justin Trudeau, of Premier Ford, and to the local municipal officials, we're hearing stories of people still, coming back from traveling and going out and buying groceries. What is the message you want to send to these constituents?
Yeah, I mean that's just unacceptable, and the premier was really straightforward in his press conference today, clearly stating that's unacceptable. And there's been lots of stories that people get off a plane or drive home from Florida after spending the winter there, and they visit the bank and they visit the grocery store and stock up before they get home. That is not, that's spreading the virus. What you need to do if you get off a plane or come back from overseas or Florida is you need to go straight to your home, make arrangements with a friend or to deliver groceries to your home so that you're looked after that way. And that's the only way we're going to win. I mean, the United States, I don't think, has done the greatest job, and the numbers are increasing exponentially in many of the states. So those people returning from Florida, I don't know their situation necessarily. So they have to assume that they may carry the virus. They have to go into self-isolation for 14 days if we're going to win this. Both my brothers actually when their spouses just returned, and they were directly to their homes. They had friends bring food to them, and they are staying self-isolated. We connected via FaceTime just the other day, and it's going to be that way until at least 2 weeks is up before I see them. That is so important. And that was very clearly stated and forcefully stated by the premier today.
Norm, we have to go to a break here, but I just want to give you a quick opportunity just to send a final message out to your people in Parry Sound and Muskoka.
Well, I'd just like to thank everyone that's doing the right thing, that's keeping at least 6 feet, from your neighbors, that's staying at home wherever possible, that's following all the procedures, washing your hands, not touching your face. And I want to thank especially those key health workers and police and those that are on the job and have to be on the job for our safety. The clerks in the food stores, I mean, holy cow, they're, on the front line, and they really need to be thanked for the great job that they're doing.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Norm. Just a note, too, to our viewers, we will be postponing the Queen's Park Report while we respect this social distancing, so expect to see that in the near future. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, today we heard there is one new case of confirmed COVID-19 in the Simcoe-Muskoka District Health Unit, specifically in the Simcoe region. But Dr. Charles Gardner with the Health Unit has said we should be prepared for the fact that the virus is now spreading locally. So the question is, what's happening at the Muskoka-Algonquin Healthcare to prepare for this outbreak?
Some of the steps that we have taken to ensure everyone's safety include the following. We have initiated an emergency response to a pandemic plan. which includes daily command team meetings to ensure we are up to date on public health recommendations and Ministry of Health directives. We are screening everyone who enters the hospitals for travel history and symptoms of illness. We are also restricting visitors with the exception of visits for compassionate reasons, including palliative circumstances. We are postponing non-urgent elective surgeries. We're reducing, suspending, or relocating some outpatient services in order to create capacity for an influx in the potential acute care needs during the COVID-19 pandemic. Affected patients will be contacted directly and will be rebooked as soon as it is safe to do so. Urgent procedures and appointments will continue. We've enhanced infection prevention and control protocols, and we're managing supply needs and monitoring supply levels to ensure preparedness while protecting everyone in our buildings. We're working collaboratively with partners to open community assessment centers in Bracebridge and in Huntsville, and we're sharing information both internally and externally as the situation changes. If you have a loved one being cared for in our hospitals, please know that they will continue to receive high quality, safe, and compassionate care by our providers who are working very hard to make their experience the best it can possibly be in these difficult and challenging times.
And a thank you to Mac CEO Natalie Bubella for using our studio to send out that message. You can find that full interview on yourtv.tv and click on Muskoka. We are going to take another quick break and we'll be back with a look at how things are in Parry Sound. Welcome back. Well, earlier today I had a chance to chat with Radio Works news director Tom Mangos to find out what's happening in Parry Sound during this pandemic.
As of yesterday at 5 o'clock, we still have zero positive cases of COVID-19. There have been a total of 82 tests, 36 that have tested negative, and we're still waiting the results of 46 tests. So 46 tests are still pending. Yesterday, I took a drive around. All the major spots, the parking lots were really sparse. Walmart, the local grocery stores, the downtown, all of it. From my perspective, everybody's staying home. Like most districts, facilities are pretty much shut down. If you want anything to do with any municipality, it's shut down. In Parry Sound, the latest word is the council meetings are still going on. We're fortunate in Parry Sound that the council meetings are still live streamed. So we have an opportunity to participate, and those meetings probably will continue. In the last meeting, one of the councillors was actually there via Skype, and nobody in the gallery and everybody on council, minimal staff, everybody on council was really spread out amongst the council chambers. Parry Sound Council approved its budget. The taxpayer will see an additional 3% on their property tax. And that hike, that 3%, is really divided up into two parts. The first part is to make up of a shortfall of about $131,000 on the operations side. The town CAO, Clayton Harris, explained to council that there was approximately over about $240,000 shortfall in property tax because a number of properties became property tax exempt in the town. So that resulted in having to make up about $131,000. To do so, they raised taxes to cover their operations costs by 1.2%. And that ties in, and that in fact is below the benchmark. The benchmark set in Parry Sound is based on the consumer price index, and that's where the sort of the ceiling is set. And for this year was 2.1%. They came in below that at 1.2%. And the second part of that is a built-in infrastructure increase of 1.8% that goes towards an infrastructure reserve fund for the town. Another great program happening in town right now is Rotary West Parry Sound and Sobeys partnering together to make sure groceries are delivered to shut-ins in the area. It's not restricted to strictly Parry Sound, but areas just outside of Parry Sound. But for a $10 fee, shut-ins can get their groceries delivered. And if you can't afford the $10, Rotary West Parry Sound will fund it through some fundraising. So all that information you can find on my website, radioworksparrysound.com, and that's Radio Works with a Z.
Thank you again to Tom Mangos for providing us with that update. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more after this. Welcome back. One of the most difficult situations we find ourselves in during this pandemic is how to talk to our kids about what's happening. We spoke with a local counselor to get tips on connecting with children.
Well, I think what's most important in all of this is understanding the age category. So for our kindergarten children, are basically our pre-grade 1 children, primarily it's more about parents paying attention to their own mental health and to their own behavior, because children that are high level of linguistic ability understand their world through the adults that surround them. So the behavior of the adults around them is how they determine their own behavior. So the more anxious we are, the more disruptive things seem to the children around us, in particular young children. That is how they determine whether there's a problem or not, because their linguistics aren't quite there to understand. We can use terminology of, it's a bad bug, it's a nasty bug that likes to travel around. They can get some basic understanding on that, but primarily the way in which they're understanding the nature of this problem is through the adults that surround them. So the more calm that we stay, and in particular, the more that we stick to normal routines, sticking to breakfast when breakfast is normally served, having nap time when it's normally nap time, doing things as normally as possible is how we manage the anxiety that may be transferred or maybe perceived by the kids that we're taking care of. The teens really don't quite understand this, but just in a slightly different way, in that they're not highly impacted by it. If they have a job, if they're a teenager where they do have a job, perhaps they've been asked to stay home, and they might understand that some of the gravity of that. For most of the teens that don't have jobs or work, there really isn't yet any real significant impact for them. So it's trying to reinforce to them staying clean, washing their hands. But again, they do still feed off the perception of what they see their parents going through. So the calmer we stay, really the better. The challenge where we're going to see some mental health difficulties or differences is really in that middle range. So they're not fully teenagers yet. They're not kindergarten or even grade school. They're right in that middle school area, and they will see significant impact, just in the sense that the programs that they might have been involved in, if they were doing day camp or if they were doing things of that kind, and obviously they can't go back to school, they will see probably the most amount of disruption. So for them, it is having a semi-adult conversation of we're okay. Everybody really is okay. Obviously not those that are vulnerable, but that reassurance is important. Trying to keep them busy, give them household tasks, give them things that they can be proactive in trying to be part of the solution. This is always a good thing for children, to give them the ability and reinforce to them that, even if you give them a task of cleaning their bathroom, that was helpful, and reminding them that they've been helpful and that staying clean and doing all the necessary measures are part of the whole process. So it's an empowerment thing, because where that middle ground tends to have challenges is that they feel disempowered, or they feel that they have no ability to help. And giving them positive reinforcement that they are helping is really significant and very helpful to their mental health.
Well, we are taking our last break, but when we come back, a bit of a look at the lighter side of things in Muskoka. Stay with us. Well, amid the rising stress over COVID-19, a community of residents is coming together to share the love over the fear.
Well, it's been difficult. I think everybody's coping in their own ways, enjoying the outdoors. In Gravenhurst, there's a group of us that have started hearts on doors, hearts on houses, hearts on businesses. It's a way for our community to come together right now during this hard time because we're all trying to navigate right now, and we have a Facebook group where everybody's taking pictures, keeping in touch. People are looking for hearts, counting them out on their walks. We were driving through town the other day counting hearts, and there was a few people in their windows, and we waved to them. Nobody that we know, but it's a way for our community to work together, be friendly, be kind, and it's fun. It's something for kids to do right now when there's not a lot to do other than be at home, enjoying the outdoors as much as possible. There's a seniors home in Gravenhurst that has hearts in their window, and they're encouraging people to drive by and wave because they're probably the most isolated people right now. They can't leave their homes. They're more susceptible. And every week we're switching it up. This week is emojis, so everybody's encouraged to draw emojis, put them in their windows, put them on their doors. It's fun. It's something to pass the time right now.
Be kind. What a great message. And that's Cogeco News. For more information on the program, head over to yourtv.tv or connect with us on social media by searching Your TV Muskoka. And remember to watch us live at 5 Monday to Thursday. From everyone here at Cogeco News, thanks for watching.